Quintana, coming to you from the Beehive. Today I'm going to show you how to make these cute animal kiss tents using the Foxy Friends bundle. And this bundle consists of the Fox Builder Punch and the Foxy Friends stamp set. If you order both of these together at the same time, you can save 10%. Now these cute little kiss tents I have made in 3 different animals, and I'll show you a bonus animal afterwards. But this is the fox, the skunk, and the raccoon here. And I will show you how to make one from start to finish, and then I'll show you how to make the faces of the skunk and the raccoon. So the cool thing about these is they hold a little Hershey's kiss in the little tent in the center. And you may have seen some of my other kiss tents, but I thought these will be just adorable little party favors. So let me show you how to make these. We are going to be using the Simply Scored scoring board. And I've cut a piece of cardstock. This is Calypso Coral cardstock because we're going to be making the fox. I've cut this piece to 4 inches by 7/8 inches. So I'm going to put the 4-inch side up at the top, and we're going to score at all the inch marks. So the 1-inch mark, the 2-inch mark, and the 3-inch mark. So we're done with the Simply Scored scoring board. And now we're just going to fold this piece inward along all the score lines. Like that. And we're going to form a triangle. So I'm going to take my Tombow liquid glue, and I'm just going to put Tombow on one of the end segments and just bring that together. Just hold that down for a few seconds so you've got a good bond. And this will be the base that holds the little kiss in the triangle area there. Next, we're going to stamp the fox. I'm going to post my little guides for stamping the elements to make each animal. And I'll start with a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock, and I've cut this piece to 5.5 inches by 1.25 inches. And this is kind of my little map that I've made for myself, so I know where to stamp everything. I'm going to take the Calypso Coral Ink Pad. And then I'm going to take this particular animal. It's got a little bit of a jagged chest right here, and that's what I want for the fox. When you're punching out the pieces individually. So we're just going to stamp this body piece separately from the head piece. So let me go ahead and ink this one up. And I'm going to put the bottom into the side like this. You're going to want a little bit of... Let me show you this. You're going to want the bottom coming into the side like this because of the way the punch is positioned. This makes it easier. You're going to want a little bit of the head punched right here, but we're just punching the body out. And then we're going to stamp the head from the same stamp. And I'm just going to stamp it in the center of this, making sure my tail doesn't touch the body piece. So just stamp that somewhere in the middle with the tail not touching the body piece. And then finally, I'm going to look for the tail that is separate, that has that little blank spot near the tip of the tail. And I want to stamp this piece, orienting it correctly. I want the tip of the tail coming in. I'm going to stamp this pretty close to the end, because right here when you punch, you're going to cut out some additional pieces, and you don't want that to mess up your tail piece. So you can put that aside, and now we're going to go ahead and use our Fox Builder punch to punch all the pieces. So the body I'll punch first, and you can just put that in like that, just center it. This is going to look a little weird with the head right here, this head piece right at the top, but we're going to cover that up with the head. So just punch that. You'll get a lot of cardstock shrapnel when you're doing this, just because there's a lot of different pieces to punch out here. Then we're going to do the head over here like that. Just make sure you've got it centered and looking nice before you punch it. You can press down a little bit with your punch before you press all the way through to hold it in place. So here we go, some more shrapnel. And then finally the tail. And I'm going to turn the tail around. The thicker part of the tail is towards this end, and that's where my bald spot is, or my white spot is, on the end of the foxtail. And then I can just punch it like that. So now I have all the pieces that I need for the front of the fox. And I also want to back up my fox If you can see on my fox, I backed it up with the same color of cardstock just to finish off the back a little bit. So I've got a cardstock strip cut to the same dimensions, 5.5 by 1 1/4, and I'm just going to punch out backing pieces to match each one of the pieces I just punched. So I need a back, I need a head, and then I need shrapnel, and then I need a tail. I'll punch that right out of the end like that. So I've got some extra pieces. Let me see if I can move these to the side. You can see I've kind of got some stamping on here that's kind of blocking my view, but you can kind of see these are the pieces that I need to punch out. So now we just need to stamp some eyes on to the fox's face, and for that I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo black ink pad. So I'm going to be using this little face here. It's got 3 dots on it, the 2 eyes and the slightly larger nose, and on your sheet you have 3 faces, and you're going to look, there's 1, 2, 3 on this sheet. You're going to be looking for this one with the biggest spread of dots. You're going to use that to stamp on your fox face. And the way I like to line this up, that nose goes at the very tip of the nose piece, this little piece that comes down. And I want the eyes a little bit into the white. I found that looks a little better. So like that. Let me hold that up to the camera so you can see it a little bit better. See how I've got my eyes just into the white and the nose is right at the tip of that piece that comes down. So there you go. You've got all the pieces now that you need to build your fox. So I've got my little tent and I'm going to bring in Tombow, and first we're going to put glue on the back of this stamped piece, the body piece, and we're just going to add it to the triangle, and I'm going to make sure it is flush with the bottom of my triangle and centered. And then I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow right here. You see right where the face kind of dips down? That's where we're going to put the glue for the head. And I'm going to take my little face and head and stick it right over top of that glue and make sure he's nice and centered. Then we're going to ignore the tail for the moment, and we're going to turn to the back side, and we're going to glue the body piece, the backing body piece, onto the back side. This is just a small detail that will help make your fox look a little better. And so again, I am putting this right along the bottom and making sure it's centered. You see that? And then the backing piece for the head, it's just a piece of Calypso Coral, nothing stamped on it. And then we're just going to line this up. Take a peek at how it looks from the front. Sometimes there's a tendency for the cardstock to stick up. So just make sure that you don't have cardstock sticking up funny at the front. And then you're able to stick this on to the back like that. So you've kind of got it all backed up and it looks very nice. Now for the tail, I also want to back up the tail piece. So make sure you have a look and see, because there is a wrong side and a right side to assemble this tail. So I'm just going to make sure that it fits over top, and then I'm going to put Tombow on one of the pieces and I'm going to glue them together like that. So now your little tail is also backed up. And then all we need to do is put a little bit of Tombow right at the bottom right there, and then we're going to glue that right back onto the back of there. So just put like a little bit of Tombow, you can see, just on the tippy edge. And then you just maneuver the tail however it looks good. And I like to bend it up a little bit, that way it kind of comes closer to the face. You can see that a little bit. You can just give it a slight little bend to it with your fingers. Now all we need to finish this off is our Hershey's Kiss, and I like to slip it in with the tip end first, and then I just rotate it in like that. Tuck in the little paper. You can use your little stylus tool and poke the paper in so it's not sticking out. But there you go, we've got the fox all completed. Isn't he cute? Now let me show you how to make the faces and the bodies for the other animals. Let me show you how to do the raccoon one. So for the raccoon one, we're going to look for this body right here. He's just the body. He has no other markings on him. And I'm going to stamp this for the raccoon in the Smoky Slate. And again, I'm going to stamp with my bottom inwards because that's the way the punch is oriented. Makes better use of your cardstock. So that's what it looks like. And then we're going to stamp the head. And this time we're going to use the plain head that doesn't have a body with it. And I'm just going to ink this up also in my Smoky Slate ink. And just remember, you want to leave the head separate from the body so that it punches cleanly away. And then finally, we're going to use the plain tail. This tail doesn't have anything on it. And look for the fatter end. I think there's one end that's got a little bit more of a fat end, and we're going to put the fat end towards the center of the cardstock, like that. So now we just need to stamp the little face. So we're done with the Smoky Slate, and I'm going to bring in my basic gray ink pad. And I'm going to use this little piece with the mask and the 2 ear pieces. So just tap on there. And this one, I want to center the ears on the Smoky Slate piece. So kind of get that going where you want to, like that. Then we're going to stamp the face, and we're going to use the smallest face spread. So again, we've got the eyes and the nose, and this time look for the one with the smallest spread in between that, and that will match up nicely with your little mask. And I'm going to stamp this with my Tuxedo black ink pad. And the trick with this one is just to center the nose right below this little notch right here. You want it completely in the gray, and then just make sure your eyes are centered before you stamp it. So like that. And then we're going to put some stripes on the tail, and we're going to do that using our basic gray ink pad. So just ink up this piece that looks kind of stripy, and you're just going to line this up with the end. Just hover it over until you think you've got pretty good alignment, and then you're going to stamp it like that. So this is what the little raccoon stamping looks like. You're going to punch the body, the face, and then the tail. And then you're also going to punch backing pieces for all of these. You're going to assemble it the exact same way as you would with the fox. Then we're going to do our little skunk piece. And the skunk is done a little differently. So I'm going to take another piece of Whisper White cardstock, the same dimensions, 5.5 by 1.25, and this time I'm going to look for this stamp. It's got the head and the body on it, but it's got an oval chest, and that I think makes a nice looking skunk. So we're going to ink up the stamp in our Memento Tuxedo black ink pad, and we're going to stamp it right on the end, going in just like we did all the other ones. Make sure you have a bit of a face on here because we want the full piece of the body so that we have a place to glue the head onto. We're going to use a different stamp for the head. This one, we're going to use the same one as we used for the raccoon. It's just a face or a head with nothing on it. And let me ink this up. And we're going to just stamp it right next to the body, but making sure not to overlap. And then we're going to leave this end piece blank because we need some completely white pieces that we're not going to actually stamp first. And I'll just show you how I did that. So again, you're going to punch your body. You're going to punch your face. And then you're going to use the end of this cardstock piece. You want to maneuver it so you're punching the mask, the tail, and that little swoosh piece. And so we've got our tail, we've got that little swoosh piece, and we've got our eye mask. Okay, so let's do the tail first. You're going to look for, again, the fat piece of the tail. We're going to have the plain tail piece, and I'm going to show you how to make some stripes on this tail. So I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to align this just along the edge, not all the way. I just want to tip one side like this. See what I did? So I've kind of got a stripe going across the top like that. And then if you want to, you can do the other side. And I just kind of, you know, just maneuver it right on the tip. It might look different every time you stamp it, but I think that's part of the charm. That really does look like a skunk tail. So we've got the body, we've got the head, and we've got a tail. This is the little piece that goes on top of the head. And now we need to find, where is the eye mask? Here is the eye mask. And the eye mask goes like this. And we're going to use the face piece that has the biggest spread again. And then I'm just going to ink that up in my Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad. You're going to want to make sure the nose comes down right here. You can see there's like a little V that's coming down. The nose will be just below that. That's where you want the little nose stamped. So then you're going to go like this and stamp it like that. So let me just hold this up so you can see it. So we've got the eyes on there and the nose is just at the bottom of that little V. So to assemble the face, you're going to take the head and you're going to take some Tombow and just put it on that face mask piece. And you're just going to put it so that you see just a little bit of the black peeking out underneath that mask. You can see there's just a little black. And then you've got your little swoosh, and I'm going to just put a little dab of glue, and we're going to just glue that right up at the very top. I'm just putting that right along the top of the head like that. And that's how you make the little skunk head. Then you do the exact same thing for the body. You're going to have to score yourself a strip. You're going to punch yourself some black backing pieces, and then you will glue all of your pieces together to finish off the skunk. Now for the bonus project, this one didn't kind of fit in with my wild animal scheme, so I left it as a little extra. So we're going to do a little cat, and the cat is pretty easy to do. You're going to again take a piece of Whisper White cardstock. We're going to take the body piece that is plain and separate. We're going to take Delightful Dijon this time and ink it up. The bottom of the body faces in, and we're going to stamp it near the end. We're going to take the plain face piece, and we're going to stamp that next to the body, making sure not to overlap. And finally, we're going to stamp the plain tail. So let me get that in the Delightful Dijon and just stamp that down there. The only other thing you need to do to finish off the stamping for the cat is to do the face. So if you're using one of these small blocks, I suggest that you turn it on an angle so you can see where you're stamping the little face, so you can align it a little better. So I'm going to bring in my Tuxedo Black ink pad again, and I'm just going to ink this up. And then I'm just going to make sure my whiskers kind of touch the outer edge of the Delightful Dijon on the bottom. And then I'm just going to stamp it like that. Again, then you punch these out from left to right, body, head, tail. You're going to punch out your backing pieces. You have your little triangle that you made with the scored strip, and then you're going to assemble it the exact same way as the fox. So there you go. I've created 4 little animal kiss tents, and they're absolutely adorable. I think these would make cute little favors. You've got your little kiss in there. They don't take that long to make, but they're really cute. Even once the kiss is gone, these can sit on someone's shelf or on someone's desk, and they're absolutely adorable. I just love this new Foxy Friends bundle. All the supplies you'll need to make these cute favors are available for purchase on my blog. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Bye for now.